Howdy, this is Marty with Excellence in Education, the home of homeschool freedom. Now today, I want to introduce you to Denis. He is our superior, outstanding English teacher. Actually, what it's called is College Prep English. And here's the importance of this class. Not only will you learn about a greater command of the English language, but he's going to prepare you for writing those college applications. He's going to prepare you for doing excellent oratory and written presentations during your college years, and that will also blend into your career path when you have to give reports, both written and oral. So Denis, good day to you, sir. How are you? And your class is called College Prep English. Now, my first question to you would be, is this really designed only for college people, or do you see a broader application?
No, indeed not. I feel that preparing oneself to use language effectively can be used anywhere, and college is one direction to go, and not necessarily the best. In today's world, our access to information, our access to literature, our access to databases is so immense that anyone can get an education if they can learn how to do it themselves. And that's a large part of what we do.
Excellent. Now, explain to me your theology, your philosophy on language.
Indeed. Language is acquired intuitively and painlessly. Initially, certainly. And it only becomes painful when you've got a book in front of you and are expected to work with symbols on the page. Works for some people, not for everyone, but for everyone, the intuitive speaking, what one hears, is inevitable. It's as inevitable as learning how to walk, or perhaps even more so. And as I said, it's painless. But the problem is, one learns what one hears. And if what one hears is fumblingly inarticulate, one ends up writing that way, and one ends up speaking that way. We need to seek out examples that are worthy of emulation.
Okay, one of the things that I would like to bring out is that we have other writing classes based on the IEW model, which is basically the mechanics of writing. And what happens is here at EIE Academy, the kids who've gone through the mechanics of it will graduate up to Denis's class, which I consider to be the best writing class anywhere in this area. And he will not only help you be a better writer, but a better orator. And I'd like for you, Denis, because I used the word writing and oratory, explain to me how you feel listening and speaking has an immense importance on the written word.
Well, absolutely. When most students are expected to sit down and write something, a composition of any sort, in standard edited English, they find themselves having to work in a foreign language, a language that they've in fact never heard used. They may have read it to some degree, but hearing is the way we learn a language, and the language one hears is the language that's intuitive. You listen to a phrase, you listen to a sentence and ask, does that sound right? Well, it sounds right if it complies with what one has learned is right and what one has listened to. Unfortunately, much of what we listen to is wrong when it comes to written language.
Okay, and when you have your class, I've noticed that not only are we talking about how to write the sentence properly, but the vocabulary that you're introducing the students to far exceeds that of your typical classroom writing course. Can you elaborate on the importance of vocabulary?
Vocabulary is critical. The problem is that the level of vocabulary commonly used, certainly in public school and even in university, is relatively rudimentary and constrained within a relatively small number of words. However, most people understand far more than they actually use. That's our first step, is to use language that describes accurately and colorfully the ideas one wants to put across. And use words that are going to be understood by one's audience, and in some cases, perhaps raise the level a little bit.
Okay.
Give them a little bit of a challenge.
Very good. The one thing I've noticed, Dennis, with your class is that it tends to be a paperless class, and the students submit their articles, their writings to you electronically. And here's the good news behind that, is because what he does then is he puts it up on the screen. And by the way, side note, his class is offered online live, and so if he cannot make it to class, he could be in Denmark.
Some of my best students I have never met.
So the thing is, so he'll take your child's writings and he goes through painstakingly each sample, and he provides in different color a suggested correction or improvement on the writing. Do you want to expand a little bit on that for me, please?
Exactly. It would be nice if I could show a page. In fact, I was thinking of that. But no, specifically because it's paperless and is projected on a screen, and those who are not present in the classroom do not see what's happening in the classroom. There's no camera, but they will see the screen projection. So they'll see the material we're looking at and working on and reading and so forth. Every paper that is handed in is analyzed, and we go through and correct it and come up with something which is a finished product by the time we're done. In some cases it's very good the first time with a few corrections, and sometimes it goes through a few iterations before it achieves that level.
And one of the things I've noticed as well is that not only are you teaching what you figure to be good writing, but you also have the students listen and read examples of great speeches, great written presentations. Do you want to make a comment on that, please?
There are orators whose spoken improvisatory language is absolutely flawless. And they are delicious to listen to, and that listening is what will improve one's language sense much better than anything else one can do. No one has ever learned a language by studying grammar rules and memorizing vocabulary. We learn a language by being immersed in it. And so we learn how to immerse ourselves in that which is worthy of emulation.
And that's very important. And I walk in sometimes, and some of the things that I'm seeing on the screen or listening to, it really piques your curiosity and it stimulates your academic thought process, if you would. And it's really a class where the kids really start to discuss things and they analyze, and I see vast improvements in their work over time.
We're going to be looking at all kinds of different things, but it is an interest-driven curriculum. If somebody has a specific area of interest, we go there. If it's something I don't know enough about, I'll learn it, and then we'll study it. And this includes going into scholarly journals. It includes going into serious works, all of which are going to be provided in one way or another in the classroom. There's nothing that needs to be bought, with perhaps the exception of the textbook, although much of the textbook is going to be excerpted and handed out as necessary.
This particular textbook is written by Denis, so he has a very intimate knowledge about this book, and because it's his own works, I believe he has a more passionate presentation of what is contained in this particular book. And it's titled SAT, ACT, TOEFL, TOEFL, College Prep English Practice. And it's a great book as a standalone book, but more importantly, it's a great addition and amendment to his class. In the final moments, Denis, would you care to make any other comments that we have not covered that you'd like to present to our listening audience?
Well, in general, going through the material that my students are presenting, whether it's orally or written, I almost always find this book is going to cover the mistakes that I hear. And the response there is in our online classroom. I can put in a link to exactly where this area is covered in the book, and we can go and remedy the problem and understand at least what's happening for next time. But more than understand, get it in our ear so it becomes part of the intuitive language response.
Very good. And we have had your class now for how many years?
Over 10, I think.
And I'll tell you what, for those kids who have taken this class, with maybe one or two exceptions over 10 years, which is outstanding, they have declared this class to be one of their best classes, and we have some of his graduates working for some very powerful corporations, particularly in the area of written communications. And they do assessments, analysis, and they write their conclusionary papers. So it's been a great class for many people, Denis. I'm proud to have you as one of my instructors here at EIE Academy. And I encourage you to go to eieacademy.com, go under classes, and look at his description. And I would also encourage you, for your students who are high school level, come on by and sit in on the class and see what you think, and I guarantee you, your student will definitely benefit from his class. So Denis, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And good day to everybody. Life is great, don't forget that. And when you can communicate that greatness, it's even better.